Hey, welcome back everybody to PetaPixel. It is Chris Niccolls here. We have a special video today because we are coming to you from Calgary Folk Fest, and we're here to play with the brand new Sony G Master 85mm f1.4 version 2. Okay, so look, I liked the original Sony G Master 85mm 1.4, but it's no secret that it had some faults, and the new one is way better. So I'm gonna sell that old lens and get a new one, right? That sounds like a great idea. Where do I do that? Well, KEH.com is the best place to do that. I mean, first off, I know that just online, I can send in pictures and the information of my old lens to sell. They're gonna evaluate it, they're gonna take a look at it, and I know that they're gonna give me a fair price. And then if I wanna trade that in towards a brand new Sony G Master 85mm 1.4 version 2, I'm gonna get a 10% trade-up bonus on top of all that. So whether you're looking to sell your own gear and make a few bucks on it towards something new, or you wanna get something pre-owned, pre-loved, and enjoy it again, KEH.com is the best place to go, and that is why KEH is PetaPixel's official pre-owned gear partner. So I should say big thanks to the Calgary Folk Fest for letting Jordan and I come out here and have press passes and get exclusive access to be able to shoot like up close to the stages. I really do want to use this lens for some portraits today and the vendors and stuff, but also get some of the musicians right up close performing. So that's a huge opportunity. Big thanks to Calgary Folk Fest for letting us do that. I should also point out that I am going to be shooting the Sony A7R5 today with this 85mm lens, because it's really going to push this lens to the maximum as far as resolving power. Okay, so to start things off, let's talk about the construction on this brand new G Master 85mm f1.4. It looks very similar to the first version, but it's actually quite a bit lighter. It's down to 642 grams for about 820 grams. That's a significant weight savings, but still very familiar, like G Master build quality. So I like that we got a nice focusing ring here, customizable buttons, and an iris lock switch. We now have a declickable or clickable aperture. That's new for this series of lens, and of course now I get that really nice aperturing to control everything with. Otherwise, this lens takes 77mm filter threads. We get a nice new upgraded push button hood here, and it's fully sealed like all G Master lenses are. We also have a nice 11-bladed aperture. This should give us rounder bokeh. We're going to take a look at that as well. So Sony claims they've improved the bokeh characteristics of the G Master 85mm 1.4 version 2 quite significantly from the old one. And actually the Calgary Folk Fest marketplace, lots of fantastic vendors. This is a great place to test it. Getting a little bit dark, we got some nice lights in the background. So you know, the first version, the 85 G Master f1.4, the bokeh did have soap bubbles, a little bit of onion ringing. That's largely all gone. As you can see, you're shooting wide open. We still get a bit of cat's eye effect in the corners, but bokeh balls stop down nice and round. That 11-bladed apertures give us that really nice round shape. We're not getting a soap bubble effect, no onion rings at all, and the transitions here and the look of the autofocus areas are beautiful. Oh, Jordan, can we just forget about the video and the lens, and I'm gonna go buy a fishing rod. The Bow River is like right there. It's really good holes. Yeah, they didn't bring any fishing rods to the music festival, go figure, so.
Thank God.
Yeah, back to reviewing the lens, I guess. Let's go. So autofocus was an issue on the first G Master. It had slower autofocusing motors, a little bit ponderous getting from point A to point B. So now with the linear motors here, you can see it's much faster. I mean, look at the example here, from near to far, quite fast, quite snappy. And this is very necessary for a lens like this if you want to shoot street photography or weddings, anything like that where you just need quick, snappy focus. Okay, so we've got a beautiful day here today. We thought we would test some flare characteristics here on the Sony G Master 85 1.4 version 2. So as you can see here, I mean, Sony coatings have always been really good, At 1.4, I'm really not noticing even a major loss of contrast. No ghosting issues, no flare problems. Stopping down the lens quite heavily, still no ghosting issues at all. Shadows nice and clean, so this lens is performing really well, pointed straight at the sunlight. So shooting towards the sun, it's not just a problem with flare, but also with contrast. You know, I'm backlit right now, and I just be dark shadow unless Jordan wasn't here filling me with a reflector. We use a reflector quite often, but now we have this new Westcott 40-inch 5-in-1 reflector. This means we have a diffuser panel, we got black and white, we got silver, and even sunlight. Look at that, a nice warm glow on me. Oh my gosh, let's go back to white. That's cheesy. Yeah, okay, there we go. So very useful to have. 40 inch is a great compromise because you get a large area for reflection, but you can still carry it around for a day of shooting. So reflectors are always a useful product. You don't want to leave home without it. Get yours today by following the link in the description below, or check out fjwestcott.com and get yours today. We highly recommend it. That's why Westcott is PetaPixel's preferred lighting partner. Okay, so this is, yeah, like that's as close as I can get there. I mean, one of the things you find with these faster 85s, they typically don't let you focus very close, and unfortunately, this is no exception. That's my minimum distance there. I can't get like tight in detail without heavy cropping, and that's the only thing I wish this 85 would do, because that would make it really versatile if it did. So we're at Folk Fest, of course. Sorry about the loud noise, but it's nice music. I mean, she's breathing and singing at the same time. So let's talk about breathing on this lens. So the original G Master 85mm, it had some breathing problems. That's not really its forte, but Sony did want to correct a lot of that here, because even Jordan might want to use this lens for video work, even though it's not a 135. But you know, what's nice about this here is you look at the example, the breathing is fairly well controlled. There is a little bit, absolutely, but we expected that. But it's within the realm where breathing compensation built into the cameras will take care of it with fairly minimal cropping. All right, let's talk about sharpness now on this G Master 85mm version 2. It is an easy talk because this thing is crazy sharp. So first take a look at the centers here, wide open at f1.4. Tons of detail, tons of contrast, no issues whatsoever. Stopping down to f2.8 here in the center, I really don't see any improvement. It's fantastic shooting wide open. The corners are also very impressive. I mean, look here, 1.4 in the corners. We're getting a little bit loss of contrast, but still good detail, good sharpness. Going down to f2.8 does increase the contrast a little bit, but detail was already really good. As far as this lens goes for sharpness, I'd shoot it wide open without any issues. It's doing a fantastic job. And just as a reminder, I'm shooting on the Sony a7R5, so that 16 megapixel sensor is very demanding, and this lens is absolutely giving me the maximum resolution the sensor can deliver, even shooting wide open. So if that's a real concern for you, high megapixel files, this lens is the one to get. I also wanted to test Bokeh, that's longitudinal chromatic aberration, where you get color fringing in the foreground and background autofocus areas, and it's a real issue because you can't fix it in post. I forgot to wear that shirt today, I'm sorry. But Bokeh is often a problem with fast lenses. Looking here, it's quite minimal. I mean, you can see a little bit of magenta green tinge in the foreground and background, but it's nothing out of the ordinary, easy to control. I wouldn't call it a major issue at all. All right, I had a ton of fun there at Calgary Folk Fest. I think I got some nice shots here, and this lens is fantastic to use. I mean, let's just talk about, first off, this G Master. So Sony has been revamping a lot of their older G Master lenses because they need it. I mean, the original 85mm 1.4, it was an okay lens, but it wasn't our favorite. It was quite expensive, and this has absolutely improved pretty much every aspect of that lens. It is fantastically sharp, very fast focusing. I mean, I do want to talk about that. If you have some of the newer bodies that can really push fast focusing, that older G Masters couldn't quite keep up, and this absolutely does. So that's a real consideration. But what about other options for E-mount? I mean, the older lens was always expensive, and unfortunately, although this is a near perfect lens, it's very expensive too. You pay the price. So we originally compared the first lens against the Sigma Art 85mm 1.4, and that did a great job. I mean, it's optically fantastic. It's actually much more affordable, and that is still the case today. You are still limited to 15 frames per second maximum burst rates with autofocus, and that might or might not be an issue for you. But if you're trying to save money, I think the Sigma is still a good choice. But if you want the absolute best that even the highest resolution sensors can deliver, and that will keep up with fast, demanding autofocus, this is the one to get despite the high price. So I loved using the 85mm 1.4 version 2 today, but the fact that Sony went with a 1.4 is an interesting choice because, you know, other manufacturers like Canon, they've got their 85mm 1.2 for RF mount, and Nikon have their 85mm 1.2 for Z mount. And those are beautiful lenses. They perform really nicely wide open, and at the same time, you know, yes, they're pricey, they're expensive, but they do give you that low light advantage over this lens here by 2/3 of a stop. I do still appreciate though that this lens is definitely much lighter and smaller even than the first version of the G Master. But look, if you want my 2 cents on the whole aperture business, I actually didn't mind using this at all. I mean, I was shooting 1.4 a lot. I think that still gives me very shallow depth of field. And honestly, I was shooting mostly at 1.4 for you guys and for the samples because I know that's what you want to see. But in a situation like today, I would often shoot stop down in most situations to get more depth of field anyways. 1.2 is not a big advantage for me, but maybe it is for you. So leave those comments below. Let us know what you think about the fact that this only goes to 1.4 or any other questions you have. We'll answer those on the PetaPixel podcast. You should check that out. It's on the exact same YouTube channel, or go to all your favorite podcasting apps and listen to the PetaPixel podcast. Subscribe if you haven't already. Check out the merch store. Go to store.petapixel.com and you can get the Brother Beard shirt or the Loka shirt or many others. You'll definitely want to check those out. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you soon with more on PetaPixel.